the piccolo and the cane. Made my honey say, my love gave her a pain. I had the piccolo and the cane. I'd listen past you, piccolo, and eyebrow. I'd listen past you, piccolo, and eyebrow. Fade a little low down, and her fade a little low down, and her head went round and round. Oh, she thought I was okay, but he stepped off that train with a high hat, the piccolo and the cane. little pat you, thinking of you, eyebrow, fade a little on down, and her fade a little on down, and her head went round and round. Ooh, she thought I was okay, but he stepped off that train with a hi-hat, a piccolo, and a cane.
In the social justice system, special snowflake offenses are considered especially heinous. On the internet, dedicated skeptics who investigate these vicious crimes are members of an elite squad known as the Special Snowflake Unit. These are their stories.
Welcome back, Wolfpack. Dire Wolf here for our weekly call-in show, and alongside me is our co-host, Gabby G. Wiz. How you doing?
Pretty good. How's everyone else?
Doing fantastic. And along with us is our producer and on-air talent, Clyde.
An excellent vocal guitarist, apparently.
Apparently. And who are you wearing today?
I'm wearing what's for dinner. It's the cows eating steak. I don't
Awesome.
know. That's the thing.
Seems reasonable. If you want to support the channel, please like, share, subscribe. That's how you can help the channel grow. As well as thank you for those who support us financially. And today's sponsors are Daycrest, Laszlo, Ori Main, Nathan Cameron, Tetris Freak, Slowpoke Garcia, Mr. Foxlot, Gabby G. Wiz, Hellraiser Zaylon, Miss Valkyrie, Grey Apathy, Dave Youngson, Chris Williamson, Riker the Malamute, Yoko, not Ono, just Yoko, Michael Bean, Lone Fury, Night Reaver, and K-Box 3053.
And also LT Timberwolf, before the show even started, donated $2. Oh no, that was 4 hours ago during the other stream. Sorry, my bad.
Yes, we received some donations on Director Arketer's show, which was awesome.
Nice one.
We actually received a lot of donations.
You don't say?
You don't say.
Yes. It was like 10 in a row right when the show began.
Oh, he's on fire.
Yeah, he did a great job. He really racked in the dough. And Vince is in his memory. He's saying Night Treasure also supporting us. So Let's move on to our first story.
Let's.
All right, the left dehumanizing Trump supporters. We need to talk about the regressive left's dehumanization of their opposition and the mainstream left's refusal to call it out. Last week, a radical left-wing anarchist group paraded 20 paid actors wearing MAGA hats, white-collared shirts, and slacks down the Hollywood Walk of Fame on leashes like dogs. Like dogs. These fake Trump supporters were walked like animals by black activists in what they called performance art. The group that organized this event was the same group that had erected statues of a naked Trump all around the country.
So we did forget one thing on Puppers is telling us, so we screwed up. This is a call-in show, so in between our stories, if you want to call into the show, you can. You can go to our Discord, which Puppers will link here shortly. And I'm also going to bring Puppers in to explain how you can be a part of today's show.
Come on in, Puppers.
Hey, Puppers.
Hey, buddy.
Hey, I muted the stream before I heard what y'all were saying, so I don't know what you already said.
Okay, well, how do people get involved?
Oh, okay. If you want to call in with any news stories, disagreements, or questions, just go to the Discord with the link hopefully in the description. If it's not, I'll just be spamming it in chat. Go to the call-in room and talk to me. I'll give you the details and send you into the waiting room.
Beautiful.
Awesome. Thank you very much.
Thanks, buddy.
Arigato gozaimasu.
All right, back to the humanization of Trump supporters. So they said that the idea for walking the Trump supporters like dogs came from a Twitter exchange between Cardi B, who claims to be an artist, and Tomi Lahren. Tommy had tweeted, "Looks like Cardi B is the latest genius political mind to endorse the Democrats. Ha! Keep it up, guys. MAGA 2020. Spicy. Cardi B responded, showing her clear mastery and eloquence with the English language by saying, "Leave me alone. I will dog walk you," as a threat.
So that was a donation from Slowpoke Garcia. He donated $2. He says, "Hey Dyer, you're lucky I'm not super rich because I'll demonetize you faster than the videos. Also, hi Puppers. I'll harass you later." I'm obviously referring to the $10 limitation for the text to speech. If you donate over $10, it goes straight to text to speech. And yes, please don't demonetize us with that function.
Please. I'm begging you, don't demonetize us. Any case, did they step on what I said?
A little bit, yeah. Just repeat the last sentence there.
All right. Cardi B responded, showing her clear mastery and eloquence with the English language by saying, "Leave me alone. I will dog walk you." Gabby?
Did we lose Gabby? Oh no.
Gabby's dead.
Oh, no.
So
Okay, I'm back.
There you are.
The anarchist activist group In Decline decided to take Cardi B's incoherent dribble and make it an actual thing. So they hired 20 actors to act like dogs while dressed as Trump supporters and while equipped with a dog tag bearing the names of public figures like David Duke, Richard Spencer, Steve Bannon, and Ann Coulter.
The implication is clear. They're saying that all Trump supporters are racist animals. Not only are they likening them to the likes of David Duke and Richard Spencer, but they are saying that they are to be treated as less than human. Instead of individual people with legitimate political views, they're saying that they are stupid, subhuman scum that need to be dominated. It is no surprise that the tyrannical Antifa types would dehumanize their opposition like this. They do it all the time. Everyone that disagrees with them is a Nazi, and that's what they call them, and that is how they justify their violence and destruction.
What's even worse of a problem is how left-wing media outlets like the Rolling Stones magazine reported on this story in a positive light, and without condemning the socially destructive nature this kind of dehumanizing narrative has. They need to realize is that on either side of the political spectrum see the other side as one-dimensional hateful monsters, then there's no way to heal the division in our society. It will only lead to more violence. When radicals tried to paint Trump supporters as all racist white men, real reporters need to point out that half of America supported Trump. His supporters include people from every race, every sex, and every sexual orientation. Trump's coalition of support is not based on racism, sexism, or bigotry. The people that voted for Trump are not a homogenous group. They are a great many individuals, all with different reasons for favoring him over the Democrats. And that doesn't mean that they agree with everything he says or does, of course. If our goal is unity, then you first need to understand the actual positions of your opposition. But dismiss as animals instead, that's
but not dismiss them. Yeah.
Yeah.
Anyone else just see this as like super cringy?
Yes, it's pretty cringy.
Yeah, it's not attractive.
Well, I mean, like, I get what they're trying
It's
to
also the
say
whole
there, but, like, acting it out just gets me right in the cringe reflex. It's fucking terrible. Yikes.
Surprise, motherfucker.
Surprise, motherfucker. Slowpark Garcia donating $2. He says, "Where's Vince? He owes me a default dance." You still owe me a lot of dances, Dyer. So you're not in the clear. And hey, some people want to be treated like a dog. Don't kink shame those crazy left guys. Yeah, just don't do it in public, you freaking filthy animal. You know what I mean?
It's not kink shaming if if you do something in public and the public's like, I don't really like that. It's not to each their own.
It's weird. Like there's this image of a little girl petting
No.
the dog. Like, dude, like what message is this? The kid's so confused. Like, what is going on here? Like, you're making this shit normal for people. It's gross.
Yeah, but I mean, should we really be teaching a kid to view Trump supporters as less than human?
You know the kid doesn't get it. The kid's like,
Yeah.
what? But it's just creating more confusion for young people. It's like, what the hell are you doing? Weird.
So, as far as dehumanizing goes, the same goes for Democrats. All jokes about NPCs aside, people on the right need to make sure we aren't actually dismissing people on the left as unthinking, unreachable, subhuman either. However, even though we make jokes about NPCs, we address people on the left on their actual arguments and their actual beliefs. We recognize they are not a homogenous group, and we don't just dismiss them. That's why we respond to them. We take what they actually say and do, and we show them how we believe they're wrong. Though we can recognize trends in their beliefs, we do not assume anyone on the left's opinion is identical to anyone else's on the left. We treat them as individuals. They're treating Trump supporters as a homogenous group and also as subhuman.
I'll tell you one opinion on the left. Somebody thought this was a good idea.
And it wasn't.
I don't share that opinion. I'm sorry. You guys look like a bunch of retards. And you're not proving any points. There's no point to be proven there. You're just like, wow, you guys are, you're just full of vitriol. That's all you got.
This adds nothing to the public discourse. Nothing at all.
Zero.
That's just something else entirely.
That's it. That's the only point that portrays, right? It doesn't say like, oh, here's my policy and what my thoughts are in some clever way. It just says, I hate these people enough to enact them as like pets or animals.
Yeah.
No point made.
None.
It's not even clever.
And those activists titled their project, quote, Hate Breed, and claimed that it was supposed to represent how people of color are expected to explain racism to white America in an even-toned manner. They said, quote, so often minorities are put in the awkward position of calmly and patiently walking their racist peers down the path of empathy.
Does calling white people or all Trump supporters racist and walking them like dogs scream to you empathy? And yes, it is far more constructive to explain how you're being wronged calmly rather than attacking people who have done nothing to you. It all comes back to the cycle of hate. If you have legitimately been the victim of hate, it might feel normal to lash out and hate the group that person that victimized you belonged to. However, if you do so, you'll do the exact same wrong that was done to you to someone else. Thus, you've passed the hate down. If you want empathy, you should show empathy. If you want to stop hate, you should first not be hateful.
Like, seriously, think about it. This dude right here, he's like, hey, I want to normalize, people looking at white people as this thing, right? Like, saying, hey, racism's a great idea, guys. Look at me engaging in racism. No, it just upsets me. It upsets me in a way that, like, okay, it doesn't upset me like there's some systematic crap. It just upsets me like these people think that this is okay to do in public. Like, sure, you have every right to do it, but like, really,
doesn't mean you have to agree.
You're just hateful, man.
Yeah. So it's clear the people that organize this, they're trying to go after what they claim to be hate or racism with other racism. Though I think they're attacking people who are racist. They're attacking Trump supporters, which they're not a racist group, but they're attacking them with racism for the purpose of fighting racism that they imagine is there. So I accept that there's racist people like that on the left. What bothers me is other people on the left are not calling them out and saying, no, you don't fight racism with racism. You know, why do we have the media that are complicit in this by not saying how, hey, why are you demonizing half of America as being racist when it's clearly not true?
The only racism I see, and you might want to say it comes from the left. I mean, there's racism everywhere, right? But like,
oh yeah, both sides.
But when people are openly racist like this is stupid. And like, we know nothing bad really is gonna happen of it now, but they're normalizing this kind of behavior. It's gross.
I mean, that's the thing about racism. Like, wherever it's from, we're supposed to call it out. That's just what decent people do.
Yeah. The irony is,
end of the spectrum.
White nationalists exist, and at the core of white nationalism is racism in America, because they're trying to kick out all black people out of America. But the difference between that minority group on the conservative side that is racist compared to the much larger group on the left that are racist, the identitarians, is the white nationalists. They hide it. They say, oh, we're not really racist. We just blah blah blah. Their reasoning, but they try to pretend like they're not racist. Whereas the people on the radical left, they're not even trying to hide it.
Yeah, but you know what? I challenge you to look at their platform, right? You look at the white nationalist people, and then you really, because they say they're right or alt-right, or they say that they're on the right. But then you look at what they espouse for, and it's everything the Democratic Party wants.
Yeah.
Like, they're not actually right.
No, they're only on the right because the group that they hate is black people. Other than that, all their policies and all of their tactics, as you'll see in a later story tonight, are all the same as the left.
Yeah, but how does that make you on the right? Like, okay, so we got a political spectrum where, going one way to the left is all, as you incrementally further get down that scale, you go from like regulations to, stepping in and controlling more and more government, right? Until you end up at communism. And then the other way, it's like, centrist, conservative, libertarian, freedom, more freedom, racist, wants total control of the government. I don't understand how that works.
Are you commenting on how the left and right titles are meaningless? Because it's true.
Like, I see a linear scale where it's like, on the left, it's total control. In the middle is like kind of where ideal America, usually is. And then all the way to the right is anarchy, whereas no rule. You know what I mean?
Yeah. The colloquial left and right though doesn't really follow the political compass, right? It's just which side they're voting on, kind of in America, right?
Well, the only thing that upsets the game is racism. As soon as you have like socialism with racism, you're like, oh, they're on the right.
Yeah.
I don't get that. That doesn't make any sense. The whole linear scale works until that factor comes in. It's like, wait, maybe it's on the left. Maybe the Nazis were on the left.
It's kind of like
they
the
were.
same
They were on the
thing,
left.
it's just
How about
depending
that?
on the target.
National Socialist.
Yeah, they call it a right-wing movement. I don't get it.
It wasn't. I mean, you can have authoritarians on the left. It's clearly true. All right.
Yeah.
Hey, so Daychrist says he missed some stuffs. Ha! We tricked you guys. We actually started kind of on time today.
Right, just to
It's
keep you on your
rare.
toes.
It's rare.
Never saw that coming. Okay. So, do we have any callers?
I
Let's
think
check
we
real
do.
quick.
Yeah, we got Grambo waiting to get
Surprise,
Rambo.
motherfucker.
in. Yeah. Surprise, motherfucker. Slowpoke Garcia with the really, really long comment. Thank you, man. I really like reading it in tiny print with the italicized text. This reminds me of a video where a black man basically bested a KKK chapter by basically mocking their efforts to intimidate him. The video was told for the former Klan leader who tried and failed to intimidate him. Basically, he ended up having to leave the Klan. No, I've never seen that before.
Huh. Okay. Well, Grambo, thank you very much, Slowpoke. Grambo, how are you doing, buddy? How you doing, JP?
He's still muted.
Oh, is he?
Yep.
Oh, he's not. He's just muted by you personally.
I don't hear him either.
No, sir.
He's not server muted anymore. So.
Maybe he's on push to talk.
Yeah.
Get that thing going, man.
JP, you gotta sort yourself out, or we gotta move on. Okay, I'm gonna put you back there, but we'll bring you right back.
Oh, looks like
Whoa,
he's
whoa,
on
whoa,
mute.
whoa, whoa,
There
whoa!
he is,
Wait a
there
minute,
he
wait a
is.
minute! I am right
I
here.
hear him.
Hold on.
Okay.
Made it. Just in the nick of time.
Yeah.
Just next time. I almost moved you.
Yeah. All right. So,
What do you got for us,
yes,
buddy?
Hello. Yes, I just want to say a little bit of a disagreement on what you just said, Clyde.
Okay.
On the when it comes to just the usual on the whole right thing. What they meant when it comes to the right is that when it comes to conserving, basically conservatism, what they're trying to say is we want to conserve our race. We want to conserve our culture, our racial identity of that culture and of the country. I think it's what they're arguing for, especially on the right. Now, that's mostly... So
Yeah,
that's
but-
just me alone.
But that's apples and oranges, right? Like we're talking about, like conservative as a political ideology is
Absolutely.
is more right of center, right? Like it's not very far right. It's just right of center.
Right. And also, I don't think I view anarchy as more of a left-wing thing or a right-wing thing when it comes to... I think it's basically libertarian at that point. Basically, anarcho-capitalism, although I do kind of believe it's more of an oxymoron, I prefer more of a monarchist position on that because you need some government control, just not too much. And, well, basically, you know what I'm getting at. Also...
I know
on
what you're getting
when
at. Let me just cut in there. I was just talking about what are at the extreme ends of the scale. So
Yeah.
on one end it'd be like
Especially-
total totalitarianism. The other side would be
Yeah,
anarchy.
absolutely. When
Everything
you
that
have-
ever exists is kind of in the middle.
Here's the thing. I always view the right as saying, like, for example, now, be honest, this is where I usually come in, as more of a just, traditional values, family values. Homosexuals are the enemy, and anyone who's not part of our race is considerably evil and is not, well, basically, but on the left, very far into the extreme, is basically, communistic, very much communistic, and that's how I view things on that. But on the very one side, the middle is how I like to say, you know what? You both are fucking crazy. You're basically fanatical in your view. That's all I have to say. Also, on the very part where you say, about these white guys apparently acting like ravaged dogs as a way to prove that there is racism in America. How fucking low do these people have to go? How desperate are they trying to make white people as somehow very evilly racist? So let me get this straight. It's okay when black and brown people are calling for racial identitarianism, but when whites do it, then the mainstream media get reported the beautiful double standards of these moronic fanatics. It's bad.
I totally agree.
Racism is bad. And
yeah, point blank.
whether it's yellow, it's black, or it's white, it's still fucking right.
Tell us how you really feel, buddy.
Well, I gotta agree with you. I'm forced to.
How do you disagree with that? Like, just bigotry in general. Like any sort of, when you look at somebody just on face value, like just what you see in their physical appearance, if you cast judgment in a negative way, that's racism, right?
Yeah.
Yes.
Now,
to see this.
Well, I want to stop. I want to stop myself there because there are things that you can cast judgment on, like how somebody dresses and how, you know what I mean, like their demeanor and things like that. But if you're judging people just based on skin color and features that they can't change about themselves, yeah, you're a dirty person, man.
It's
If
amazing.
you wouldn't mind pulling up that political compass I posted a picture of in the Skype.
Yeah, sure, I'll pull that. As soon as my potato.
It's amazing. It's amazing how it's okay as a way to justify their own racism. The left has adopted the tactics of the KKK because only if it suits to them, only they put a little bit of a diversity quota or more of a PC twist.
Right.
So this is a common measurement tool. You've all seen it, right? But so you have the authoritarian versus the libertarian. I mean, we have authoritarians on the left and the right on both extremes, and then it's economic left and right, which is how conservative we are with our spending and our government control, right, or government ownership.
I think it all depends on.
This really has nothing to do with. Hold on, JP. It doesn't really say anything on either side about being a racist. So you could be racist on anywhere on the scale, right?
Yeah.
Exactly. Plus, I always view the right as more social control and economic freedom, while the left is more economic control and social freedoms. But here's the thing. I don't want neither to be control. I want them to be both socially and economic. I want social freedom.
That's where I think there's been a massive paradigm shift, and it's coming into play now, where the people on the left,
absolutely,
the left right now is, fiscally authoritarian as well as socially authoritarian. You know what I mean?
The authoritarian leftists, while the more libertarian leftists are more like similar to the hippies, I think.
Yeah, well, now the young people on the right, they don't care about what you do in the bedroom.
It's incredible. Yes.
And they're fiscally conservative. It's great.
Oh yeah. That is amazing. I thought, look, I'm still liberal based upon the very things that has inspired, like the free speech movement of Berkeley, to all of the rights that has been won. And now I don't think it's pretty much necessary to say, oh, there is racism in America. Oh, sweet Lord. The social justice movement has become nothing more but, I would say, a non-theistic fundamentalist religion, apparently. And you must be cleansed on the altar of social justice with its three holy trinities of multiculturalism. I think it's more like intersectionality, diversity, forced diversity, as well as feminism.
Yeah. Well, like you said, Dyer, and racism can fall anywhere on that scale, right? And it doesn't necessitate a political ideology, right? They're mutually exclusive. So,
absolutely. Also, one last thing before I go.
Yeah, what's up?
Well, I wanted to say is when I'd like to have a personal request of you someday, if you'd like to bring them on your show, like one of these three people that I hope that you can. One is Tim Pool, the other is Styx Hexenhammer 666, and the other one I think it's called Prince of Queens. I don't know who I hope I don't know you guys don't know who he is.
I don't know who he is.
Hey,
Don't know who
that's
he
a
is.
big ask there, JP. Will you be able to negotiate down from that? Because
I know. I'm sorry. I'm
So-
sorry, but I would
mean,
love,
those are
love for you
some
guys
good
to have like, a great
names.
conversation
No.
with these people.
JP, thank you very much. I would love to have those individuals on. The one factor you may not be considering is they have no idea who the fuck I am.
They don't know. who we are.
I know. I'm sorry.
Yeah, I wish they
But
did.
I would love-
I would love to chat with Tim Pool. I have a lot of respect for that guy.
Yeah.
Yes.
Same
So-
here.
Well, I gotta go.
They have open. Thank you very much, JP. So,
yeah. Thanks.
one thing I want to
Cheers,
add to
buddy.
that, very much. Thank you very much, JP. One thing I want to add is, yeah, like you said, you can be racist anywhere on this graph, and that your political affiliation doesn't necessitate either way. But one thing that is absolutely true, universally true, is racism is not a good look on anyone.
Yeah, well, I don't understand the whole concept of, hey, we're gonna start a socialist party. Oh, you're a lefty. Okay, cool. Yeah, and we're gonna take the means of production. Oh, you're really socialist. Yeah, and we're racist. Whoa, you're on the right.
Oh, jeez.
It doesn't make any sense to me, man. None at all. So we had a super chat over on Clyde's Soapbox. Cody Dill commented for $5. He says, "Glad to catch the stream. Your news commentary helps me feel better about this crazy world. Thank you so much, buddy."
Oh, we're making you feel better. That's good.
I think by
Wrong channel, my dude.
no, I think by expressing how crazy the world is, he probably thinks, I'm not so strange. This is
you're not
normal
alone.
to think the world is crazy.
Right. Okay. So next story.
Let's do this.
The next story, the trans woman charged with a hate crime for saying that she herself is a man. The insanity of hate crime policing and transgenderism in the UK has hit a new low and shows no sign of stopping. The new level of insanity was reached when a trans woman, or a man who self-identifies as female, was charged with a hate crime for admitting that she was biologically male.
And she's a looker. Whoa. Woo! Oh. If I only hadn't known that she's actually a man, I may have. I don't want to say. It's dirty.
We know how you feel about trannies. You've been elbow deep in trannies before.
Oh, dude. Yeah, it's really hard, when they affect the rear end so much.
Yeah, many a lonely night Clyde has spent with a tranny.
I don't work at night, man.
Many a lonely day, midday during normal work hours.
Yes. Normal work hours. I'm not even going there. Forget it.
This trans woman is Miranda Yardley. She understands that transsexuality is a psychological disorder. She understands that undergoing surgery and presenting as female may help her deal with her dysphoria, but it does not change the reality of her biological sex, which is male. I'm calling her because though she's a man, she's not being a dick about it. Since she's not demanding anyone throw reality out the window and isn't demanding any special treatment, we'll be polite and call her what she wants to be called just for this.
Mm-hmm. Yardley actually is very opposed to the transgender activism and transgenderism. It was actually this that ended up getting her in trouble with the law. A year ago, she got in a debate with a transgender activist over Twitter with a transgender advocate named Helen Aslan. They were debating the idea of whether you should be legally determined as one sex or the other based purely on your opinion, whether or not you have had surgery. Yardley, of course, pointed out how such a policy would result in men being allowed in women's spaces, competing in women's sports, and how it presented an insanely unsafe and unfair legal environment.
Islan, who is the mother of a transgender child, is working and also works for a group called Mermaids that advocates for transgender youths. Islan accused Yardley's side of politics of spreading hysteria about transgenders. Yardley responded by revealing Islan's identity and tweeted out and in a tweet that referenced the woman's transgender child.
Yardley was accused of doxing the child, though Islan had regularly publicly posted the child's identity multiple times herself prior to the interaction with Yardley. Islan had even announced that her son had come out as trans at school. Yardley's attorney also showed that a Google search was sufficient to find a family photograph she had posted as well as her personal information. Yardley said because of that, she didn't think she was releasing information that wasn't already known to the public.
So it wasn't actually a dox. She was just trying to accuse Yardley of doxing to try to get her for a hate crime. Mm-hmm. I want to point out the problem with the idea of transgender children. Islan is among a group of transgender activists that actively are harming children by reinforcing gender dysphoria in children and encouraging life-changing permanent alteration to children's bodies based on a disorder that is both common and usually very temporary. Childhood dysphoria is common. Kids usually grow out of it very early on. However, if you encourage and reinforce it, it might take a lot longer for them to grow out of it. Currently, kids grow out of their gender dysphoria. If childhood gender dysphoria is generally grown out of 80% of people grow out of it before age 18. So, however, they're encouraging kids to get hormones and surgery done during those years, and that is causing life-changing, life-altering results for these kids that eventually would have grown out of it.
Hey, while we're at it, why don't we let kids get tattoos and stuff like that? I mean, there's a reason why you don't let kids do body modifications, because they don't know better.
Yeah. So this group, this Mermaids group, is just actively destroying kids' lives.
It's gross. It's gross. And thanks to this person for sticking up for it. So yeah, I was kind of tearing into her at the beginning, but I do respect her for standing up for the two gender paradigm, which is real. There's two genders.
Yeah. The difference is Yardley here has a legitimate psychological disorder. She has dysphoria, and so she's just trying to deal with that by presenting as female to make her feel better about herself. But she's like, I don't support gender advocates that are trying to normalize and encourage dysphoria, because like if you really think understand gender dysphoria, you shouldn't want anyone to have it. It's terrible.
Yeah, it's got to be terrible.
Thing to go through.
Well, any psychological disorder's got to be tough to go through. You know what I mean? Like people suffer with depression and all kinds of ailments, right? And everybody deals with them in their own way, and you can't cut somebody up for dealing with it. What you can cut people up for is trying to implement shit on you.
Love ya, dire wolf. Can't listen live, but you make the overnight shift go by really fast.
Right on. Micah Nightwolf, thanks, buddy. That was a $10 donation from him. But yeah, like the difference is some people just go through shit in life, and yeah, they got quirky things about them, like they're a dude that dresses like a woman, whatever. That's a thing. Everybody else can just deal with it, and because they're dealing with it, right? They know they're gonna get weird looks and all that stuff, but the thing is to try to implement them as like a special group or some shit like that. No, they're just an individual like everybody else. Straight up.
Yep. Also, I can't say that name. I apologize, but it ends in Broodmother. Slygotha, Broodmother, says that she had a daughter who where is it? Okay. My daughter tried to tell me she wishes she were a boy because she isn't a frou girl. And I told her that that's called being a tomboy, and tomboys aren't really boys. They're just girls that aren't very girly, and she was relieved. Yeah, I mean, you don't have to, just because a girl is not acting excessively girly or a boy not acting excessively manly, doesn't mean that they aren't a girl or boy. And honestly, my wife said this, I have to take her word for it, that she was very tomboyish when she was young, but then when she actually, became an adult, she changed her behavior drastically, So just because you behave a certain way as a young kid when you're still finding out who you're going to be in life doesn't mean that's how you're going to be for the rest of your life. You don't know who you are until you're like 25 years old.
Right? Like, you're just a kid. You're enjoying what you want to enjoy.
That's the thing too, like behavior sets don't necessarily put you in some category either, right? Like I knew this one dude when I was growing up, like when I was like first in the working force. He was a lot older than me. I swore he was a gay dude. I just thought he was a gay dude because the way he talked like Richard Simmons, right? But for real, no, he was not a gay guy. He just talked like that. Straight up.
So it's our responsibility to, as parents and adults, to teach kids what is the normal, healthy ways to express themselves and behave in their gender, right? But if they don't, if they behave differently, you don't have to, you don't have to force them into a certain box, right? And let them find out who they are. Definitely, though, don't encourage them if they start behaving differently than what is the standard male or standard female. Don't start pushing them into the other box just because they don't fit in the first box, right? And then, again, if a boy acts a little girly, don't like, okay, now you're a female. Now we're going to get you hormones and a surgery to make sure you stay female, because there's a very, very good chance they're going to grow out of that phase. And if you make life-altering decisions at that point when they're young and they're still finding out who they are, you could destroy their lives.
Yeah, I agree.
Very true.
And isn't it kind of a coincidence? I don't know. Call me, skeptic. But why is it that all these kids that are transgender have like crazy feminist or SJW parents?
Oh, you're just imagining it, Clyde.
I must be. It's just me.
Just imagining it.
Okay, it's just me. Oh my god, it just fucking bothers me.
What a conspiracy theorist. Jeez.
Yeah, right? Got that tinfoil hat on.
There's no connection.
No, okay. I was just, I just wanted to make sure.
I really hope future me, puts a tinfoil hat on you in post-edit.
Yeah, I hope that happens. Would never happen.
After this incident, Twitter banned Yardley for harassment and for violating Twitter's hate speech policy for calling a transgender politician a man. Islam also reported hardly, and the UK police investigated and charged her with committing an anti-trans hate crime. That's right. The UK police that are facing increasing levels of violent crime and sexual assaults chose to spend their limited resources on investigating a Twitter flame war. Yep. The UK police have been completely ineffectual at protecting their communities from actual violence and continue to pour more and more resources into accomplishing online hate crimes, which usually amount to Nazi pug jokes and suppressing on violent political speech.
Yeah. They're spending their time and money rather than going after their actual violent crime. Because when they do go after violent criminals, their police are unable to actually to deal with them. They're not armed. They usually get punked by actual criminals, violent criminals. It's really sad seeing one guy with a knife chasing around 10 UK police officers. It's really pathetic. But then they devote 30,000 police officers in London alone on online hate crimes. Again, as you said, hate crimes including making a video teaching your pug dog to Zig Heil. That's ridiculous. Is there not something more important you could be spending your money on? So the judge, after hearing this case thoroughly, called it a complete waste of police resources and ordered the complainant, Islam, to pay Miss Yardley's legal fees. At least the judge was reasonable in this case. Barrister Amanda Jones, who has represented clients accused of anti-trans comments, told the Daily Mail on Sunday, the police and CPS routinely ignore rape threats, death threats, and abusive material targeted at women online. She said, the entire criminal justice system is falling apart from underfunding, and this case appears to have been a complete waste of public funds. If they're going to actually invest, crimes online, instead of going after someone who committed no crime, objectively, there's no evidence of any crime committed here. They could go after people who are actually making death threats, actually doing calls to violence online, if they want to investigate actual online crimes, actual harassment where would you not care more about a woman getting a repeated death threats from, say, an ex-lover or something, rather than going after someone who was having a debate about transgenderism? Come on.
Yeah, priorities, dudes.
Yeah.
It's just funny to me that they, now they've gone so far with this crap that they're targeting the people that they're, that they're saying that they're defending. You know what I mean? They attack, gay people for speaking out as being conservative. Like the people they're like, you're a homophobe. And you're like, what? That dude's a gay dude. Or you're a transphobe. This guy is a tranny. Come on.
Yeah.
Give me a break.
Not that identity politics should matter, but even if you play by their own very rules, you can still beat them. How sad is that?
The irony in this is, the punchline, I guess, is Yardley is allowed to, under transgenderism, under the crazy leftist logic, say, I'm now female, and that's fine. That just by identifying, just her opinion that she's female makes her female. But then if she says, no, I'm actually male, she can't go the other direction. Now that's a hate crime. It wasn't a hate crime for her to say I'm female when she's actually male, but now when she's biologically male and have previously, and is presenting as female, now saying, no, I'm actually still male, that's a hate crime. Are you kidding me?
This is where you just you just walk away and go home.
Yeah.
It's the UK. I'm not surprised.
Triumphant 888 said, but Dyer, fighting crime requires skill and might be dangerous. Arresting people for tweets is much easier and safer for the average diversity hire in the British police force. That's one of the real problems in the British police force right now, is because they're not hiring on merit. They have a bunch of really unfit, police officers that probably couldn't, actually take down a violent assailant, right? Yeah. Very small females that aren't very muscularly able. So they that's a weird way of saying that. Not very strong, small female. So if they went up against a actual violent criminal, they wouldn't be able to do anything. And there's actually a clip out there of a female UK police officer getting beat up by a really average-looking criminal just because they're not intimidating.
Surprise, motherfucker.
Surprise, motherfucker. Gray apathy in the stream last. Sorry. The muscularly able.
Able. Weird way of saying that, right?
Gray apathy donated $2. He says, you guys are a group of diverse people who are educating us on weekly news who is a furry. Elbow deep in trannies and dance for money, but you're on the right. I can't get on that racist train. I need an adult. That is a lot to swallow right there.
Yeah. Oh,
That is a job well done. We make you question everything.
Yeah, question everything, people. Including your muscular abilities. Oh man, that was beautiful. I'm so using that.
I am definitely editing that out.
No, you're not. No, you're not.
All right, so I know our next caller. By the way, any closing shots on that story?
Really? That's my only closing shot. Essentially. Oh no,
right.
that's just stupid. Really?
Yep.
Going after the people that you're saying you're defending by saying that they're doing thing against the people that you're so dumb. So dumb.
That's the thing. They only defend those groups when it benefits them. As soon as they go off of the regressive leftist, talking points, now they're the enemy and they aren't worthy of defending anymore. That's how it works.
Yeah.
It just proves that it's just not it's not entirely an echo chamber. Like, if you want to claim identity politics, are you going to really erase the voices who disagree with you, even though you claim to be the defenders of said group?
Yeah, they're all. Sorry.
No.
They're all about letting women's voices be heard until those women's voices start speaking about conservatism.
or like people kind, and always listen to women until you groped one of them 20 years ago.
Right. It's Me Too. Believe all female victims until they're accusing one of your friends. In which case, stop believing them.
Yeah.
Okay, Lena Dunham.
Yeah, right. That's what I was referring to.
Yeah, I was referring to Trudeau.
Is it Trudeau?
Yeah, well, Trudeau.
Trudeau got accused. Lena Dunham was she's a rabid feminist, and then one of her friends got accused. Oh no, wait! All of a sudden, evidence is important.
Right.
Yeah, or Asia Argento. Believe all victims until a victim accuses her. Oh no, he's lying.
Yep.
Right.
What's good for the goose is good for the gander. See, that's the thing about having principles. You got to have principles and set policies that can be applied universally. If you make it only applied when you're using it to attack someone that you disagree with, and it's the only time it's allowed to be used, well, that's a pretty bad policy, and it means you have no principles.
Mm-hmm. And a lot of times people say to people like us, well, why do you support Trump then? Because he said, I grab him right by the pussy. And it's like, well, you forgot the other part where he said, they let you.
Yep.
Yeah.
My wife lets me grab her by the pussy. Is that a crime?
Yeah. I mean, it's the whole discernible difference there is the permission granted. So
yeah, I think the confusion lies in that a male feminist has never been allowed to grab any woman by the pussy, so they're not understanding the concept.
Yeah, I mean,
if you want to demand evidence, look how many male feminists have been accused of being a sex pest. Like,
yeah.
Yep.
But like, if you want to go after Trump for things that are legitimate, right? Like, say that what he said was crass. Don't say what he said was a crime. You just you sound like a retard.
Right? Like, you can disagree with that. You can say it's crude and it's rude, and it kind of
agree with you on that.
But
yeah,
just don't try to say it's something else that it's not.
Yeah, it is crude and rude, but when you start saying it's him endorsing rape, now you've lost all credibility. You look like an insane person.
Yes,
anyways, moving on to our next caller, we have the official Jarbowitz. Oops. How you doing, buddy?
Hello, Direwolf.
Holy shit.
What?
How you doing, buddy?
I'm pretty good. How are you? Sorry about the voice changer. I just need to protect my identity.
Okay, that's the one you chose.
Cool beans.
Well, he's a small mammal, so it makes sense for it to be a high pitch, I guess.
Yes, of course.
All right. What do you got for us, buddy?
Well, what I wanted to say is that, to an extent, I do definitely agree that there is some degree of kicking people out of the leftist community as soon as they break character.
How do you mean? How do you mean?
Well, what I mean by that is it seems like the second someone breaks character and starts talking about not believing a certain ideal that they agree with, that they're immediately outed from the community as a whole, and they're seen as basically part of the alt-right immediately. For instance, this person being charged with a hate crime, I'm sure they're not accepted as much as they were before they said that they, are actually a man.
Actually, Yardley is kind of an outcast as far as liberal groups are concerned. And the funny thing is, when you have someone who's on the left and they express a more centrist opinion or they disagree with one of the radical ideas of the far left, they go from being a leftist ally to being Nazi immediately in their mind. There's like no progression. It's just you're either with us or you're a Nazi.
Right, look at Tim Pool. Look at
I
Matt
absolutely
Christensen.
agree.
They're moderates, and
I see that a
just-
lot, especially on Twitter, where it seems like the second I talk about something that's a bit conservative in a place that they're talking about liberal things, that I'm seen as a Nazi and all these different things. And I've had people even threaten to dox me and get me fired from my job, all sorts of things. It's pretty bad on Twitter.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, Gabby,
It's
I think that you're muted in the Discord. That's why they can't hear you right now. But yeah, Gabby was just bringing up about Tim Pool, how Tim Pool's on the left, and because he's actually reporting the news, people on the left are calling him a Nazi and a alt-right sympathizer, all this crap, right?
Yeah, but he's clearly on the left. He's got a lot of things I disagree with, but he's right in the areas where he's against the identitarian left. Yeah, well, he's kind of like, he was a Bernie bro. He's in favor of a very, very large state with a lot of control over the economy. He's for things I could never be for, right? Mm-hmm. He's for really robust social programs that are, in my mind, very bad for the economy.
Not so robust that they're green deals or anything like that, though.
No, not like that. Because he said. So here's a quote from Tim Pool. If you believe he's a righty, he says he agreed with the New Green Deal up to the point where it started advocating for reparations. He said he agreed with the theory of most of the things that were advocated for in the New Green Deal. The things he wasn't for was the time scale, the extremity, like how far some of the things went, and also the racial identitarianism. So if he's saying he's for most of it, he's obviously not in agreement with us on the conservative side, right?
Well, he's definitely on the left.
But he's not insane. There's the thing. He has those opinions, and he's willing to debate them, but he's not insane like the people on the far left are.
But that's why I'd like to talk to a guy like Tim Pool, because it's like,
exactly,
he's the kind of person where you could actually bring thoughts to the table and possibly convince him. You know what I mean? Like,
yeah.
Or you could be convinced the other way or whatever. Like, it's where discussions can happen with a guy like that.
Exactly. What's frustrating to me,
talks can happen.
What's frustrating to me is because the radical left and radical right, they absorb so much of the public conversation. Discussions like that, we could have a really productive conversation between Tim Pool and us about the actual merits of the New Green Deal, right? Instead of talking about that, both of us are focusing on the more the crazier people in the conversation that are far louder, right?
Yeah.
They suck so much air out of the political discussion that we spend so much time focusing on the radicals than actually debating like sensible policy.
Exactly. Amen, dude.
Yeah. But yeah, getting back to
the reason.
Oh, sorry. Go for it.
I think the reason, at least with Tim Pool, that they're trying to kick him out of the leftosphere, as so to speak, is that they just don't want someone that's that close to being able to converse with the right.
Leftosphere.
That's good. That's good. I've never heard that. But no, but yeah, that's the problem, and that's why the left is shrinking so quickly, right? And people are going over to the right because you go to the left, and if you're like, yay, I like all your ideas. Oh, wait, that thing's kind of weird. And they're like, get out of here, you fucking filthy. Bleh. And
exactly. And once you label someone a Nazi, then you can also push for their censorship.
yeah, it's crazy. It's crazy. Yeah. But, like, you know, people on the right, and there's all kinds of different people on the right. I don't agree 100% with what Dyer has to say, or even with what Gabby or Vince has to say. But we're all willing to have the conversation. You know what I mean?
Right.
And that's kind of that's what's drawing people in, because they're so tired of being told, like, you can't say this, and if you do, we're gonna disassociate with you and alienate ourselves from you. That people are just, even people on the left are coming over to the right and going, you know what? You guys are just better crowd. Straight up, you're just better people to hang out with.
I've seen a lot of people, especially with like. Okay.
Sorry, I'm just gonna say, like, how else can you get information without putting yourself out there? You have to put your own idea out there and be receptive to a certain degree to criticism and receive that in order to, like, really formulate your own, like, logical. I don't know where I'm going.
Well, you gotta test it and practice it. Mm-hmm. You know, like you discuss with people, hey, these are the ideas that I think. You know, I have these certain principles, and here's how I'm trying to formulate them. Here's my ideas. What do you think? And then people either shut them down, or they'll embrace it, but maybe have different points of view on certain subjects. And yeah, it's just refining your own idea of how the world works and where your political stance is. There's nothing wrong with it, and it just sucks that well, I mean, it's good for us because it means that the people we vote for will probably get in, but for those on the left, they're dwindling because of this alienation. It's crazy.
Yeah, so debate is the crucible which ideas are refined, you know? You really learn more about why you believe what you believe when you have those beliefs challenged. And you might end up changing those beliefs or just improving your knowledge of those beliefs, but debate is super important. And that's why channels like and people like Tim Pool and us, they're valuable. Like, there's people who watch us, like Jabaro, correct me if I'm wrong, I've seen some of the debates you've had on Twitter. You're more on the left, right?
I am? Is that what you asked?
Yeah, you're more on the left, right?
I wouldn't say so. I think that I'm pretty far on the right.
Oh, okay.
Okay. Well, correct me wrong then. So there are people who watch our channel that are on the left and even, you know, more left of center, just not far left. And they are welcome to come on the show, welcome to have a civil conversation. We can have a sharing of ideas, right? And that's healthy for everyone. We don't dismiss someone just because they don't agree with us. We are open to the conversation, and so is Tim. And that's healthy for everyone. It gives us the opportunity to change our beliefs if we're wrong. It gives our audience the opportunity to change their opinions if they're wrong, and in the end, we're all healthier for it.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, when it comes to things like the walk away hashtag, I started to see a lot of people saying that it's like the nicest community they've ever spoken to when they started joining on the right.
God, we gotta stop stepping on Gabby.
Sorry about that.
No, it's all good. It's all good. But yeah, no, you're absolutely right. It's just a lot of, like, wholesome folks for the most part that just rather get along with everybody than argue, like, shouting matches. You know what I mean? Yeah, we're gonna have differences of opinion, but it doesn't have to lead to, you know, separating or, like, not being friends with each other and not having discussion. It's actually more reason to have discussion, if anything.
Right, or, like, no deplatforming, like, just be able to talk to a certain degree. And if not, there's the block button. There you go.
You know, the best way to defeat an idea is to actually let the idea be heard and then expose it to the light, right? So if you want to disprove white nationalism, let them say what they believe and point out, then you go out and point out why it's wrong. If you don't let them be heard, that means you don't get an opportunity to counter that idea, and then they're going to keep on believing what they believe, and they're going to continue to convince other people to believe the same thing because they've never heard the counter argument.
Or remember, ideas are violence.
Oh my God, yeah.
That voice with that statement.
Yeah, right.
I mean, the last thing we need is freaking cults. Don't let them inbreed and manifest in their own little secular circles. Let them be out in the public. Let us all laugh, and let us have a good argument.
Hey, how would you feel if I took that sound clip of you saying that our ideas are violence and have that be the sound that pops up when someone subscribes to us? Because that'd be hilarious.
We can absolutely take that for sure.
That was hilarious.
Also, Faithless Berserker wants me to do the deepest voice I can.
Yeah, good try.
All right. Thank you very much, Jabora. I have trouble saying your name.
Jerboa.
Jerboa, and no problem.
Jabora.
Enjoy the rest of your stream.
Appreciate it.
Cheers. Thanks a lot.
Cheers, dude.
Holy cow, we have a lot of people waiting in the casual right now.
I don't know if they're waiting. That's not the call-in room.
Good point. Anywho, let's move on to our next story.
Yes.
Right. About the House to vote to overturn Trump's emergency declaration on border wall. The drama over the wall has yet to continue, despite the majority of Americans supporting a physical barrier on the southern border. As part of a comprehensive border security plan, the Democrats continue to obstruct construction of the wall, sacrificing our national security and causing continued victimization of thousands of Americans and hundreds of thousands of immigrants each year, as well as costing our country $180 billion a year.
Yep, in public services given to illegal immigrants. Our political class, for the last 40 years, despite having continually run on the platform of doing exactly what they are now opposing, are still obstructing. It is clear that their motivation is purely political, with the intent to harm Trump at the expense of the security and safety of the American people.
Trump's most recent move to push for funding the wall was to pass an emergency declaration allocating emergency funds. The Democrat-controlled House of Representatives last week responded to this by passing a resolution to undo Trump's emergency order. The resolution passed in the House with 245 votes in favor versus 182 opposed. 13 Republicans voted with Democrats to pass the measure.
Those Republicans should keep in mind that the American people are in favor of the wall. Republican voters are even more in favor of the wall, like to the tune of above 80%. If you want to remain in office, I suggest you follow the will of the people whom you're supposed to be representing.
Right? And
So
the next...
just cutting in here, we had a donation from Gray Apathy, donated $2. He says, if adding "ist" to the end of a word identifies one who is against a random word, would that make you guys leftists? Mind blown.
Ooh. That...
Wow.
I can't...
Thank you for the $2, Gray Apathy. Pow.
The next step for the resolution is for it to be sent to the Senate. It is not yet clear how Republicans will vote for the resolution in the Senate, but it looks likely to pass the upper chamber despite the fact that Republicans hold a majority. It will only require 4 Republicans to vote with the Democrats and against the American people to pass the measure. Rand Paul trying to rally 10 GOP senators to vote against Trump. I think the people in his district might want to take note of that.
Yes, I'm pretty disappointed with Rand Paul trying to garner support and try to turn 10 GOP senators over and to vote with this measure. However, barely passing the resolution in Congress with the help of a few soon-to-be unemployed Republicans means nothing. Trump will just veto the bill. They will need an overwhelming majority, 2/3 of its members in both chambers of Congress, to override Trump's veto. Thankfully, they don't have such a majority. So all this voting on this resolution is a virtue signal. And it shows us which Republicans are, actually care about the security of our country, which ones are supporting Trump and the American people on this policy that is overwhelmingly supported by Republican voters. So really, I think this virtue signal only is going to hurt Rand Paul and those other conservatives, so-called conservatives, that are voting with it. That's the end of the story. Any closing shots?
And we need that wall. Let's get that wall. Just,
Do.
oh man, Rand? What are you thinking, man? What
I was reflecting on all the Democrats who were actually pro border security, like enforcement and enhancement, just not that long ago. It shouldn't be it's not an entirely Republican standpoint.
Yeah, we got a Streamlabs donation from official Jerboa. So our last caller donated $5. Says, thanks for having me on. First time using live voice changer, so I hope it wasn't too cringy. Build the wall.
Hey, you don't know till you try. And we appreciate everyone who calls in.
Yeah, thank you.
Yeah, absolutely. Thank you. Yeah, I mean, it definitely is an emergency in my mind. I think that we've declared emergencies for far less of an issue. It's definitely issues that didn't even affect our country. We declared emergencies for when other countries are having problems, and we were sending aid, right? Mm-hmm. So I think that 500,000 illegal immigrants pouring into our country each year, including 80% of the females getting sexually assaulted, and the thousands of crimes being committed by illegal immigrants, causing harm to American people that should not be allowed. And also the cost to our budget of $180 billion a year, and we're only asking for $5.7 billion.
I was just about to bring that up, yeah, because I always bring up the economic stuff, right? Yeah, it's an economic issue. If this is costing a crap ton of money, and it only takes like a small crap ton of money one time to put an end to that crap ton of money every year that we're bleeding off to people who aren't even supposed to be around. Yeah, it's a no freaking brainer, man.
Yeah, and does no one know how investments work? Like, not to mention people complain, it's like, oh, well, if we hold them in custody, it's why they get released. It costs so much to hold them in jail cells.
Yeah. Okay,
we'll deport them, and if we had a wall, it'd be so much harder for them to get back.
Yep.
Yeah.
Straight up.
It's like saying, okay, your house has 3 walls. You have an open wall that's been damaged, right? And every day, some people come over to your house and steal your shit when you're not there. And you're like, okay, well, I could pay a couple $1,000s and replace the damaged wall, but that'd be a couple $1,000s. But at the same time, I'm losing many more $1,000s of my stuff every single day.
Right? Yeah, I mean, replacing a TV, your jewelry, your books, your knickknacks.
Yeah.
It adds up far more than just building that freaking wall.
Yeah, sure. The wall seems kind of expensive, but it's also super necessary.
And all the people that are arguing against the wall with their fences on their homes, around their yards, and their walls around their yards, and those locked doors on the front of their houses. Shame.
Yeah. Just try immigrating to Nancy Pelosi's front yard and see how that works.
I had to laugh at that. The wall looks like it's like 3 feet high around her house. It is a wall, but it's like, yeah, it's like 3 feet high. Come on,
But if you also have guards too, it's not just a physical barrier. It's also like reinforcement, manpower, extra tools to help them do the job.
The wall is only part of it. All right. Let's go on to our next story.
Sure.
Or wait,
we got a caller.
We have Hucky Puck.
Yeah, bring Hucky Puck in.
Hey,
that's a cool name.
Yep, I bet he's from Canada.
Ooh, and somebody's making it rain. We got a money cloud over top of you, Dyer.
Surprise, motherfucker.
Surprise, motherfucker. This is Gray Apathy donated $2. Says, Clyde, you're an economic problem. I'm an economic problem.
You're from a fictional country. How can you be an economical problem?
My country's an economic problem.
Yeah, that's true. Canada is.
But I'm only half Canadian. Come on, give me some credit.
So you're only half fake.
Yeah.
Well, you know, you got to do what you can.
Yeah, I just don't have legs.
But you have to say sorry.
Hucky Puck, how's it going, man? How you been?
Oh, not too bad. Just sitting down, getting cool, just relaxing after working.
So what do you got for us?
Well, I'd actually initially called in during the whole transgender thing just because it's been interesting watching that evolve just because, like, as the situation actually was going on, it's like I was a psychology major. I got to kind of watch as the LGBT studies programs migrated out of the School of Psychology into the School of Sociology and then just kind of like exploded on campus.
Yeah.
It's crazy how that changed, isn't it?
Yeah, considering that whenever it was psychology, they were basically saying, okay, let's gather all of the data points that we can. We're going to figure out the statistics of this, and we're going to figure out, okay, so what's going on here? What are the correlates? What are the... And it's like, it was all research and very heavily based. Like, we're trying to figure out what's going on, and is there a trend or something that we can notice?
Yeah, I think I understand why transgenderism exploded like it did, because we have on campus a culture that rewards people and actually incentivizes people to be oppressed, right? Mm-hmm. But most people aren't brave or dumb enough to say they are something they're not when it's obvious, like saying that you're American Indian or saying that you're black when you're obviously not. Some people obviously want that route, but it's a lot harder sell. However, it's a lot easier sell to just change the way you dress and the way you act, and instantly you have oppression points. It is one of the lowest hanging fruits of the oppression tree that you can grab.
I don't know. We have politicians that said they were Native American.
I know. I said some people did it, but it's much harder to sell, and obviously they got pretty embarrassed by that, didn't they?
No, that's the problem. She's not even embarrassed about it.
Even people on the left are calling her out, saying that's ridiculous.
Yeah, but she's still not embarrassed. She doesn't publicly apologize for any of this crap. Like, give me a break.
But
or like make a donation. Make a donation to like Native causes or something, right? Because you've profited so much because of it.
Right. If it's something near and dear to your heart, how long have you been supporting said cause? And also, it's like, that's what happens when you judge people at like skin level. How many Hispanics are light enough? It's like the left already says white passing privilege. Like,
yeah. White passing privilege? That's the thing now?
Yes, that's the thing now. Yeah.
Yeah. Like,
don't you remember the article that said like
judging people on skin or saying, "Oh, okay, well, you see, like."
I mean, now I can say in other parts of the world there is a white passing privilege that goes on. You see that a lot in Cambodia.
Yeah, in Cambodia.
A friend of mine actually just came back. They actually use bleaching soap.
There's actually a black passing privilege in Nigeria, though.
And in America.
Yeah, Rachel Dolezal was all over that one.
Oh, yeah. But you get my point, right? It's one oppression you can earn without having to legitimately be anything naturally. You can just choose to be that thing. And that's why you have people that aren't getting the surgery, aren't getting hormones. They're just changing the way they dress and how they act, and then instantly they get the extra protection afforded to someone who is quote unquote oppressed.
Yeah, it's actually basically an immunity. It basically becomes an immunity card in elementary schools now.
Yes, exactly. And then they get further incentivized to do it because once they do it, they get praised for being brave and strong, and they're given a lot of positive feedback for doing those things, and then they just want to do it more because they love the positive attention and the benefits they get from doing it. It's not really a mystery why transgenderism is a thing.
They also get school mandated lawyers.
What?
Yep.
You get a school mandated lawyer? What?
Because if you start making fun of a transgender, it's now a hate crime.
Oh, these Nancys out there, man. My school didn't even have a nurse.
I thought they already had like children's advocate lawyers and stuff for kids specifically in
But
school.
now they're
Do
transgenders.
kids get in fights anymore? Is that still a thing? Do kids still fight in school?
I don't know.
I think
No, they
be
are not
all-
allowed to. They are being taught special methods to solve them by going to the council.
Uh-huh.
Anger management doesn't work, let me tell you that by experience.
I don't know. Some kids, they only learn the lessons by getting their ass beat a few times.
Gray Apathy
But
donates.
that's aggressive, Dyer.
Gray
No.
Apathy is donating $2. He says Clyde has American passing privilege. That's why Dyer protects him.
It's okay. Dyer has furry passing privilege.
Oh snap!
Oh, snap.
Well, you are a minority class.
Oh, I'm glad I'm not afflicted with that one.
Yeah, thanks. You Louise.
You want some ointment for that, Dyer?
Notice how
I
there
think I knew
can't
what
be a
burn
single
unit
game
for
of
that.
Quiplash without Dyer being referenced as a furry.
No, never happens, man.
Oh, jeez.
Good
Yeah.
God.
With reference to me saying what I can give you 2 words as to why it's no longer in the school of psychology.
Okay.
Anybody ever heard of conformity studies?
That's a thing?
Sounds like a thing.
Okay, so one of my social psychology professors actually wrote the book on conformity.
Okay.
He did the initial studies looking at the voting trends of students whenever they enter college and when they leave.
What they
Every
like
si-
voting in the elections or voting on what?
Voting in elections, like whether it's student council, whether it's university elections, whether it's presidential elections, etc. He's been doing this ever since the 60s.
Oh, really?
Yes. His name was Dr. Richard Clark.
Okay.
And without almost unswervingly, students will become far more liberalized while they're in college.
Makes sense.
Well, that's planned. That's definitely
Yeah, that's
planned.
by design.
Yeah.
It's been duly noted.
In addition, it's actually been shown that people will conform to their sense of authority. It's been shown that they will conform to their sense of what the public view of right is. The basic book of psychology in terms of conformity studies is actually written in the term of what is beautiful is good.
Yeah, but doesn't that just kind of fall in line of like what agreeableness is? You know, like most trends happen because a lot of people will like conform to follow trends, you know what I mean? And
Well, it's like if you look at the way that politics has been going, the politicians these days aren't necessarily being voted in by their quality of acumen or resume, but rather the way that they look on TV for a lot of the part.
well, that's been the case since debates were televised.
Well, let's put it this way. Who thought Reagan was a supermodel? Who thought Nixon was a supermodel?
Well, okay, so what you're talking about came about during the time, I think it was the Nixon debates. Like, Nixon debates were like the first ones that were televised. Am I correct on that? But yeah, it started being a thing because traditionally they were just on radio. And then, even before that, they were just like, somebody wrote what everybody said, and you read about it in the paper. But yeah, as soon as it came on TV, then it became this new thing, and a lot of people gave credit to JFK being elected, largely because he was a good-looking man.
Mm-hmm.
And honestly, even for a left-winger of his time, it's like he had great policies about a lot of things.
Well, I mean, I wish that kind of left would come back. That's for
Principles?
Sure. Yeah, I'd love to see that on the left. Sure.
Scandal.
You know what I mean? Like, but look at the left we've got now.
Well, I mean, you saw what happened to the left that JFK brought too.
Yeah, him and his brother.
Yeah, I've been to Dealey Plaza.
Oh, okay. I don't know. But yeah, not good. Not good. A lot of people thought that would happen to Trump because he was a populist that got voted in.
I think they're scared of the alternative.
Thank God it did not.
I don't want this to happen, but there's probably a lot of people who would like it to happen. It still is a real threat that exists out there.
No, it sure is. Godspeed, Trump.
Yep.
We're looking forward to another 6 years of your service.
Yep, stay safe. Hey, so Hockey Puck, is there anything else for your story, or are we ready to move on?
You can move on.
Well, thank you for joining us so much, man.
I appreciate it. Thank you.
Absolutely. I got to do some more.
Cheers.
Oh shit! God damn it!
Yeah, he had one last thing to say, but we missed out on that.
I was a mistake. One quick second. Yep. I need to report a sick burn. Yeah, 3 of them in my dorm room. Yeah, it was a mean joke. I'm definitely gonna need ambulance. All right,
totally screwed
Moving
up
on.
that one, man.
Right. Going on to how Google confirms there is a wage gap. They aren't paying men so much. Feminism this week has once again been forced to face the reality about the myth of the wage gap, despite the fictitious gap being proven to be false over and over again, included being debunked by the U.S. Department of Labor. Feminists still repeat the lie that women are paid less for the same work.
Please say including.
Please say including.
Just say including. Oh my God. Also, please say they aren't paying men enough.
They aren't paying men enough.
Thank you. The reality is that women are paid less in total for different work. Women tend to work different jobs for less hours and take time off their careers for their families. There's no wage gap. There's an earnings gap, which exists due entirely to individual choices women make compared to men. The gap is a product of our freedom to choose and is a moral good, not a moral flaw.
I just want to have that clip of Shoe on Head pushing that wage gap button right now. Feminists don't seem to understand this, so they routinely attack companies demanding equal pay, despite the fact that it is already illegal to pay them differently based entirely on sex. The problem is they don't want equal pay for equal work, as much as they may claim they do, because what they are actually asking for is a quality of outcome despite not making the same choices men do that lead to those outcomes.
Back in 2017, Google was one of those companies that feminists went after, claiming that they had discriminatory payment practices. Its funny how they tend to go after companies that are run by left-wingers because they are the most likely to capitulate to their unreasonable demands in an effort to appear more progressive. Well, back in 2017, they were falsely accused of discriminatory payment practices in favor of women, and responded by in favor of men, giving men higher pay, and responded by doing a yearly review of employees' pay and adjusting any imbalances they found.
Now, 1 year later, they have performed their annual review of employee pay, and guess what they found? That's right, they found that they have, in fact, been underpaying men. They found that female employees were given more discretionary pay on top of their salaries, meaning they were paid more for the same work than their male counterparts.
Shocking. Imagine my shark.
Oof.
Over the last year, they have also been sued for paying men, and specifically Asian men, less compared to other employees doing the same work with the same hours and job performance. Former engineer James Damore filed a lawsuit in January 2018 alleging Google discriminates against white men and conservatives after he was fired for a memo questioning the company's diversity efforts, which, by the way, he wrote this memo in response to a request for feedback. So he gave feedback on the policies that Google was implementing, and they fired him for it.
Emergency alert. Direwolf Media needs a Womblance. I repeat, Direwolf Media needs a Womblance, that is all.
A wambulance?
That is too funny. A wombulance.
A wambulance.
Wombulance.
I love you.
That was great apathy for $12. Thank you, buddy.
Thank you.
Ambulance. The pause was the best. Direwolf needs a Wombulance. This story is a load of crap. Seriously, like, if dudes are dudes, don't complain about it. Just don't work for Google. You know what I mean? Like, don't pull the same shit that these whingy women are. And I'm not saying women. I'm saying whingy women, because, like, whingy anybody. Don't be a whinge. Do better. You know what I mean? Like, if Google makes it their thing to pay dudes less, go work for somebody else. They'll pay you more. Like, that's the thing. If you have skills, because, like, you can't get into Google without skills. It's not like a job at McDonald's where you're like entry level whatever. You're going to work with a set of skills. If Google doesn't want to pay dudes, whatever. Let them just only have women's staff for all I care.
To be fair, though, the men that are filing lawsuits, they're filing lawsuits because they were wrongfully terminated, or because the staff at Google said they would not promote them or give them certain jobs because of their gender. They were not actually complaining about pay, whereas the females that were complaining that they were not getting paid equal amounts of money despite not doing equal amounts of work for the same quality. So there's actually
pursue a lawsuit, but don't be the people that stay in the job and whinge about it. You know what I mean?
Oh, right.
Like,
yeah. Agreed.
Yeah. Definitely pursue a lawsuit. I mean, if you're entitled to something because the law says you are, go for it. Because
like getting fired because you're a dude. That's a big problem.
Yeah, that's a pretty shitty deal. So yeah, pursue that, but don't be the type to don't be the people that cause this whole predicament and just stay in your job and whinge about it. If you have talents, pursue it, man. There's going to be people that are going to be willing to pay you for those talents. Like, I just got to say.
The best way to get a company to pay people what they're worth is to demand it and to leave if they don't.
Yeah. I've had to do that in my career, and it turned out well. I mean,
you've changed jobs twice in the last year, and you've got a huge pay because of it, right?
Yeah. It's the way it goes. Well, I mean, the first job I did because I wanted to leave, because of that reason, but then the second one was an offer. Actually, I really liked where I was at, but I just got a better offer somewhere else. It's just
But
that's
see,
the way the
why-
world works, right?
Just because you accepted the offer doesn't mean that you didn't like the place. No, accepting the offer means that you were actually setting at what your work is valued.
I want to be clear. I really liked where I was at.
Yeah. But that the same thing goes for any other job. So like if you are working in a job that pays a certain amount, for instance, my brother, he does computer programming in California. He was getting paid $13 an hour, which if I'm sure you realize is way under what that skill set is worth, right?
Yeah.
And he says he has trouble. Back a long time ago when he was in this situation with like 8 years of experience, getting paid $13 an hour is criminal. And he said he's having trouble paying his bills. And I'm like, well, there's other companies in your same town or one town over that will pay you double.
Make
Why
a
don't
resume.
you move?
Make a resume
Yeah.
with your skills on it.
An hour?
Yeah, you are empowering that company you work at to value you less than you are actually worth because you are refusing to move. If you left to hire someone with comparable skill, they'd have to offer more money. That's how you force a company to pay you what you're worth, is by only accepting what you're worth.
Or at least saying I was given an offer. You know what I mean? Yeah. I was given an offer and here's what it is. You know, will you match it or go better, you know, sort of thing? I mean, that's courtesy goes a long way. But at the same time, like, be courteous to your employees or they're just going to bail.
Yeah, agreed.
And I just want to be clear, where I was at was not being courteous. I got an offer that worked better for myself and my lifestyle. You know,
exactly.
It just works that way.
Take care of yourself, yeah, and your family. You got stuff to do. You got bills to pay.
Yeah. So yeah.
Anyways,
going back to the story, if you're a person with skills, what are you doing?
It's the competition. It's the free market. Some people get mad at the free market, but it serves a lot of good.
Yeah, don't get mad. Get a better paycheck.
Right? Don't get mad, get glad.
It keeps your food fresh.
Or at least get good, scrub.
Yeah, right.
And Google maintained that it never did pay women less for the same work, saying that the reports from 2017 that accused them of this were flawed and did not consider all the factors that go into determining a person's pay. Regardless, they were pressured into raising the pay of women in the organization. The irony is that because of that, they conceded to those unreasonable demands, and coupled with their hostile working environment towards dissenting opinions, they actually created the discriminatory payment system they were falsely accused of in the first place.
Isn't that a tragic irony?
Womp, womp, womp.
So they were accused of having discriminatory payment practices when they didn't. So the response was to create a discriminatory payment process.
It's
System.
Google, you getting woke.
That's hilarious.
You know what's next. You know what's
go
next.
broke.
Oh my god. But that's it. Like if I was someone who had this set of skills and worked for Google, and then they implemented this sort of policy, I'd bail. I'd be out. Be like, you know what? I'm just gonna take my skills elsewhere.
Yep.
It's that easy.
If they admit that they're hiring or promoting people based solely on their identity, that's not an equal environment.
No, and it just breeds hostility between employees. Morale goes to shit. Forget it. No, just
Exactly.
You don't even want to work there.
It creates more hostility. It's like, okay, were they promoted because of the right things that they're doing, or are they promoted just solely based on identity politics? It breeds more hatred between identity groups. It's not productive.
I agree.
Yep. I agree.
No, I'm laughing at the comments. Hucky Puck in the comments said Clyde has a particular set of skills.
Yeah, working on trannies.
Yeah.
It's a reoccurring joke.
Yep, it sure is.
Anyways, next story.
And Stream.me is down, apparently. We have some bad news for anyone that uses the video streaming platform Stream.me. Their website has been taken down and likely will not be returning. Stream.me was a more free speech friendly alternative to YouTube that some had hoped could one day replace YouTube. A group of right-wing hackers and trolls have managed to have the website taken down. Why, you might ask? Over a stupid internet feud.
Yep. When Ethan and Ralph and the Kill Stream, a popular internet drama channel, was forced off YouTube, ironically for being alt-right in content, it was Stream.me that they moved to. To be clear, I do not know, nor do I care if Ethan is alt-right, or by what definition they're using to call him alt-right. Because the term is misused all the time, I'm not going to assume either way because I don't care. What I do know is that he was hated by and harassed constantly by the actual alt-right, referring to people who are white nationalists. Their political beliefs are not actually the focus of the story, however. The real focus is supporting free speech and opposing deplatforming tactics.
So this alt-right group that was harassing Ethan, who doxed Ethan and spread the allegation that he was a pedophile, is also the group that hijacked Andy Worski's channel and then streamed, oh goodness, porn and gore on his channel to get it nuked by YouTube. They also doxed Andy's sister and sent her pictures of them, oh god, ejaculating on her photo, which they call cum tributes. If you're not getting the point by now, they're not good people.
Beyond being bad people in general, they're complete morons. They use the same tactics as SJWs, the same tactics that SJWs use to harass, threaten, and lie about people they disagree with to get them shut down and deplatformed. They criticize SJWs, but they are virtually no different from them.
Well, this group, in their effort to go after creators on Stream.me that they started to attack the platform, they emailed the payment processors trying to disrupt the website. This culminated in one of the owners of the website, Rusk Perkins, and his wife getting doxxed as well. They were harassed, and his wife was also sent cum tributes. Oh, Lord. The hacker that doxed by a hacker that claimed to be called Paypanon from a group called, quote, Cow. Because of the harassment, the creators and the operators of the website Stream.me, which they had been operating as a side project without it being profitable.
Sorry, the hacker that doxed them claimed to be called Paypanon from the group Cow, which is a hacker group which is also known for doxing people online. It's a pretty bad group of people. And yeah, so they've managed to shut down the entire website. And this is how stupid these assholes are. These guys just managed to troll one of the few platforms on the internet that would defend their own free speech. Great job. Now Stream.me is gone and you've lost one platform where your voice could be heard. You just did the regressive left a huge favor. I know you don't care. Many of you guys just want to watch the world burn, but I hope you know you're helping the radical left that if they get their way, would imprison the alt-right, the alt-right keyboard warriors like yourself. You're only helping them. And you shouldn't feel safe behind your pseudonyms and your encryptions because if you get the government behind this belief system, they can still reach you. If you lose this culture war, if we lose this culture war, and you lose your freedom of speech, they can imprison you and they can find you. You shouldn't be shutting down a platform that is helping fight this culture war to defend your freedom of speech. It's like cutting your nose off to spite your face. You guys are retarded.
Well, SJWs exist on both sides of the platform. Like, yeah, they cut their own principles and they restrict their own freedoms and rights just because they feel like they're right.
Yeah, they're like the radicals, the communist radicals that will try to overthrow the government. They're the pawns that will overthrow the government, and then they realize after their new strongman takes over that the first thing they do is get rid of the radicals.
That is the thing.
Yeah.
That pretty much in every communist revolution that there's ever been. You don't want those radicals because they have the ability to take over a government.
Yeah.
We should get rid of those guys.
You guys are extraordinarily stupid. I hope you guys realize that. I hope you guys never actually have to suffer the reality of the us losing this culture war, though, that you are actively fighting against, right? Because people like you that harass online. Look at the UK. They go after everyone doggedly that does anything uncouth online. You are protected so much by our system in America, and you're undermining that same system that's protecting you.
Yepers.
How foolish is that?
Very much so.
Yeah, they're biting the hand that feeds them.
Now you're gonna starve. Okay, next story then.
Moving on.
Right. ISIS fighter, husband of rejected bride, wants to come home. We have an update to the story about the British ISIS bride, Shamima Begum, that left to join the terrorist group at age 15 3 years ago. As you'll remember, now that ISIS has been defeated, she has decided she wants to come back to the UK.
Where we left off, she was denied citizenship in the UK despite the left-wing media campaigning hard to allow her to return home. Thankfully, the Home Secretary of the UK did not allow her, this unapologetic terrorist, to come back to their country. The update to this story is that now her husband, an admitted ISIS fighter, is also asking permission to immigrate with his wife to Holland. So the short answer is no. The long answer is
screw
stay
you,
there
no.
and rot. Yeah, stay there and rot,
hell
you
no.
fucking terrorist.
I don't care about Aunt Shamima and what the fuck she wants to do with her life. She threw it away going over there.
Yes.
So enjoy it. Enjoy whatever life you were pursuing when you threw it all away. Because there no take backsies. You know what I mean? Not when you do that. No.
You can't unbehead the
group
infidel.
that you joined that actually oppressed minorities and sought to like torture, if not totally like massacre them. Like it's not working out for you. Yeah, that sucks. That really sucks. But that's the bed you made, darling.
Wait. It's not working out for you. Oh, let me think about that. I don't fucking care. Straight up. Why should we care at all?
Right.
Like
we don't.
When you do that, you've thrown away you burned all the bridges. You can't come back. We dried up the river and put a wall up, okay? Now you can't even swim. Bye straight up.
JP says, nope.
Yeah. No, screw you. Get out of here.
The guy actively was fighting against British soldiers and American soldiers, and was some of the guys beheading and killing people for being infidels. Are you fucking kidding me? You even have the gall to ask to immigrate.
No,
you are. Yeah, it's funny in a way that you even had the gall to ask. The person whom you asked should have just shot you on sight.
But the right wing are so terrible. But we should accept these people right back into our into the fold.
These people want to purge all people who are not heterosexual from Earth. Kill all of them. Anyone who has any kind of mental or physical disability, kill all of them. Anyone who doesn't believe their specific version of their religion must die. That's what they believe. Are you kidding me? You want someone like that in your country? No. There was when the wife, the ISIS bride, requested to come to the UK. Somewhere like 75 to 79% of UK people said, hell no. How do you think they're going to feel about the actual ISIS fighter requesting it? I'm pretty sure it's going to be close to like 99% of people saying, you know what? We don't want cold-blooded murderers in our country.
Nope.
We don't need to import that. We have enough as it is.
Oh, my God. The fact
was-
that there's one bothers me, let alone we have enough as it is, that statement.
And you know what, Clyde? What's going on with your country? What's going on Trudeau? Huh? What's going on with that? Intentionally bringing those people into this country and giving them money.
I'll tell you what, Canadians do not like what's going on. They like what's going on with the Lavalin story because it's probably going to get him kicked out of the government.
Explain.
Should I explain that?
Yes. Let's find out why Trudeau is going to get his ass canned for corruption and also sexual assault.
Okay. Well, I don't have a story prepared, but I'll just tell you what I know. Okay, so there's this company in Quebec. It's called S&C Lavalin. And we've got a super chat coming in, so I'll tell, or a Streamlabs donation.
Surprise, motherfucker.
Text to speech. Come on.
Do it.
You can do
I
it.
believe in you.
I didn't do it.
What
happened?
It's so weird. Doesn't do it.
What happened? Okay, well, I'll read that out anyway.
I heard the notice.
Yeah, that was weird. It didn't do the text to speech. Okay, so Gray Apathy donated $12 and says, "Oh yes, Gray, I like it like that." Oh my God, this is why he did the he opted out of the text to speech. He wanted me to read it. God damn it. God damn it. Here we are waiting for it. All right, here it is. Oh, yes, Gray. I like it like that. Those are the bands that make me dance. Slowpoke never treats me like this. I have to support Clyde and Dyer, so thank you for treating me right. Gabby, you're cute too. I have to support their YouTube habit. Boobies.
Boobies.
All right.
Fan.
Okay, so let's get into this story about the Canadian government and what's happening there. So we all know Trudeau is a douchebag drama teacher. Anyway, so let's go back a bunch of years. I think to around 2010. So S&C Lavalin is this company. It's a contracting company. They do building and all kinds of other stuff. So they wanted to get some contracts, and they were talking with the Gaddafi family when they were still around and in power. And so one of the things they did was Gaddafi's son had come over to Canada and wanted to have a good time. So they showed him a good time and bought him a whole lot of prostitutes and the likes. Planned it all out too, right? Like they bought prostitutes for him and all this shit. So it's clearly a criminal offense, right? Not allowed to do that, apparently. I don't know, maybe if you would have done that over in Libya, it probably would have panned out differently. But over here in Canada, nah, not such a hot thing when it comes to the RCMP, the Royal Canadian Mounted Police. They're the big dogs up here, right? So yeah. Anyway, RCMP finds out about it, and they decide to put an investigation together. They research it. They find out. They investigate. Find out that they've done a lot of bad stuff. So they wanted to. So they brought forward to the Justice Department a set of evidence and suggestions for prosecuting criminally, right? Even though it's a corporation, but they can still be prosecuted criminally. Excuse me. So the the justice. What do you call him? What do you call that position? It's the Attorney General of Canada, who was appointed by Trudeau in his famous this is 2015 speech, when he said, "Why do you have so many minority hires and women, even though this doesn't clearly represent the representatives?" And he says, "Because it's 2015, current year." So one of his 2015 current year hires was this Native woman. Her name's escaping me at the moment, but she was the Attorney General, and so she was brought forward with these charges from the RCMP about what was going on at SMC Lavalin, this Lavalin Corporation, and so she was about to lay charges. I mean, just a no-brainer. So the Trudeau camp, including Trudeau himself, met with her, I believe, like 10 or 12 times, trying to convince her not to lay charges, but to do some sort of deferred process where they just give fines to the company because possibly the people that perpetrated this don't work there anymore or something like that. So she said, no, I'm going to go forward with these charges. That's the law. And even the deferral process, it didn't, that the Liberals had wrote, they weren't even eligible based on the type of charges that were involved. So so even based on what they were saying, we should give them this special deferment, they weren't even eligible based on the law. So she got fired. So Trudeau fired her.
Wow.
Well, he moved her to another department and replaced her with somebody who was like more apt to not prosecute this company, which happens to be from a big, a demographic area of Quebec that would maybe change the course of the next election that's coming up in October. Probably not in favor of the Liberal Party. So, yeah, the allegations, which they're alleged, but she made she gave a big speech under oath talking about this scenario. The Attorney General did, and she laid out the charges. The Liberals tried on, I think it was 10 or 12 separate occasions, to convince her not to lay these charges on this Lavalin company, and so in retaliation to that, they got rid of her. So that's that impartial Justice Department in Canada for you.
Wow.
So yeah, it's basically what Nixon did. The reason why Nixon had to resign.
So I've heard that he may face jail time. Is that true?
If it goes to charges, if he's charged with it, there's a clear writ in Canadian law that any attempt to sway the decision of an ongoing court case by for political means or whatever. It's I think the law says for any means. Obstruction
of justice, right?
Any form of obstructing justice on that level is a minimum of 10 years. Or no,
so
it's a maximum of 10 years.
Yeah. So the irony is that Lavalin controversy is clear example of obstruction of justice with evidence. And there's also accusations of sexual assault against him. And as
unrelated, totally unrelated.
Yeah, unrelated. Jonathan pointed out that wouldn't it be like irony, delicious irony that Trudeau, who's been like the poster boy for the left, they love talking about Trudeau because he's a great example of the left globally. How he, after they've been attacking Trump with sexual assault claims that were never actually prosecuted, never actually came forward. and pursued, and also saying he's been guilty of obstruction of justice without any evidence. They've been attacking Trump for 2 years on those 2 points, but then the media darling of Justin Trudeau is actually found guilty for both of those things. That'd be hilarious.
Yeah. So we. Well, I mean, the first case, I don't think it would even be prosecuted. It was so long ago, and the statute of limitations would probably, it would just get thrown away. You know, the assault charge. I mean,
Right.
it was just a hashtag Me Too. You know what I mean? But this SNC Lavalin story, this is like, no, like, do not pass go. Do not collect $200. Go directly to a Canadian penitentiary.
He is not the woke feminist that so many people claimed he was.
No.
Yeah.
Well, yeah, I mean, yeah, he was going after this native woman that
Yep.
was the attorney general, and like pretty brutal. She had to resign from her post. She was moved to a different department. Definitely a big demotion, and promoted this other guy who's like a yes man. Yeah, sure, I'll totally go along with your not pursuing charges on this case. So yeah, it's a clear case of total like crony corruption garbo. So we've got a Streamlabs donation from Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez donated $2. Says, sorry, just dropping by to redistribute the wealth. Lucky for you, these $2 came from the Clinton household. You may want to keep them away from a black light.
Oh, gross.
Oh, man.
But yeah, no, it's crazy, and like for people to think that Canadians are behind this Trudeau guy, I'll just show you the sentiment that Canadians have with Justin Trudeau right here.
First of all, I want to congratulate you. You made it 45 minutes into your speech without blaming Harper. That was pretty good. I'd really like to start talking here about some of the pipe and steel tariffs that are going on, and also about the Trans Mountain Pipeline. You've made your way out here to Evraz twice in the last year. You seem quite proud about it. The second time you showed up in July 1st, you made some statements that you wanted to come out here and fight for Canadians and stand up for Canadians, because on July 1st you put the counter tariffs on the U.S. Manufactured goods, which was great. But for the life of me, what I can't figure out is, why would you sign on to the U.S. MCA while the pipe and tariffs were still active? Why didn't you walk away? When in that part of the negotiations did you decide that we here in Regina just weren't good enough? You're going to move on with this agreement without us. And
Yeah,
leave
he's
us
a
behind.
total sellout to his own people.
And
It's
then
crazy.
to add insult on top of it, we have this Trans Mountain Pipeline that was going to be funded 100% by private investors without a single cent of public money.
For those of you that don't know, for those of you that don't know, the Trans Mountain Pipeline was supposed to be, they were just green lighting it. That's all the government had to do, was just green light it, and all these private investors were going to make a twin to a pipeline that already existed, a much better one. And the Liberals were like, nah, we got our own idea.
Even once when you were campaigning, did you ever throw out the idea that, you talked here about investing in Canada? Well, never in your platform did you say you were going to go out and buy a $4.5 billion company.
Nationalized it, essentially.
This whole pipeline was going to get put in the ground without you spending a cent of all of our money.
Wow.
And it's just been it's been a nightmare.
But here we are. You got yourself in a hell of a predicament. You pissed off the Greens. You pissed off your base. You pissed off us that don't like you. And the pipeline still isn't in the ground. I just can't figure out how you're going to get to yes on this one. It's going to get hung up in the courts. people are going to challenge you because now, you know, you own the pipeline and now you get to say how it's going to go in. We have a National Energy Board that was put in place that put all these onuses on these companies to, you know, meet the standards of what the people wanted. And we still can't get there. You can legalize marijuana, but we can't twin a pipeline, an existing pipeline, to the coast.
This is what real Canadians think of this guy.
You talk about, the fella up here, he wants to talk about balanced budgets and how you're going to deal with, you know, the money coming in and the income. Well, we're just getting hosed on our oil something terribly. Like, get this pipeline in the ground, get it out to the coast, and you're going to have a whole bunch more money that you can spend like a drunken farm wife after harvest in New York City.
Oh, snap.
I love prairie people, man. The people in the prairies, they have like analogies for everything. They speak in riddle. They speak in rhyme.
Oh, jeez Louise. Yeah, Trudeau is a hot mess of a politician.
Yeah, that was before the SNC Lavaland story broke. So this guy, nobody likes him. Even if he survives this Lavaland thing, he's out. He's out in October. Nobody likes him. Nobody likes him. He's turned so many like people who were like fence sitters and just voted for the Liberals because they thought that they didn't like Stephen Harper. He's turned all of them conservative. Yeah. I mean, the voting system in Canada sucks, but yeah, no, he's out. He's not going to survive this one, and he should go to jail for this. I mean, obstruction of justice on that level.
Yeah.
Not right.
Well, we'll see how it turns out. It seems like a pretty solid case against him, though.
Yeah, but it's just deny, waste some time, right?
Yeah.
And that's the way these things go with politicians. Deny, waste all the time and money in the courts, and then hope that people just get tired of the court battles, and then he just walks off scot-free. As long as he doesn't walk off as a politician anymore, that's all.
Yeah.
That's the most thing that we care about. But he should go to jail for that. Any one of us would gone to jail for it.
Absolutely.
Mm-hmm.
So hey, how long have we been running? Is it about 2 hours?
I think we're at the 2 hour mark. Yeah. I think we're over.
Yeah. I think we're over as well. So I had a lot of fun today. How about you guys?
Yeah, it was good. It was good.
We have one story left over. It's about BuzzFeed and the Cohen testimony, but I think we can leave it off till Saturday.
Sounds good.
All right. Hey, guys. Thank you, everyone, for supporting, watching, sharing, liking, subscribing. It helps us out a lot. If you haven't already liked and shared it, please do. And then we'll see you guys on Saturday. Thank you, Gabby, for filling in for Vincent, who is definitely not dead, by the way. That's the punchline for the day.
Yeah.
Vincent is actually not dead.
Yeah.
You may all relax.
Just taking the day off.
All right. Just taking it. He deserves it. He hasn't taken a day off for like a year.
Kudos to you, Vincent. This day was yours.
He's taken more days. Sorry, I've taken way more days off than he has.
Mm-hmm.
And I own the channel. All right, guys. Thank you for calling in. Thank you for a great show. Direwolf out.
Boobs.
She thought I was okay, but he said no. and the king. Who made my honey say, my love gave her a pain, a high, the piccolo and the king. Highfalutin, fast shooting, piccolo Houston, highbrow. Highfalutin, fast shooting, piccolo Houston, highbrow. Played a little low down, and her played a little low down, and her head went round and round. Ooh, she thought I was okay, so she stepped off that train with a high hat, the piccolo and the king. Piccolo